So in this tutorial, this is what we're going to be making. We're going to be looking at a few techniques here. So how to mix the colours together to create new colours, because remember what I did was I've included the 3 primary colours in this set, which means every colour now becomes available to you at your disposal. I'm also going to show you how to do the splodgy background technique that we've got on the front of the card here, and then we're going to do a little bit of colouring inside, just re-looking at how to do them basic blends. Okay, so if we start with just the outside, the splodging technique as I like to call it, right? So remember, you've got all of your base cards, and all I've done for this one is take one of those base cards and cut a circle out of the front. All right, so there we've got there, and I've just cut that circle out the front so that I just don't want all of my cards to be a basic background. We want that little bit of a change there. So we're going to work on the front section here, and we're going to create this kind of greeny, bluey, yellow, ethereal type feel. So we're going to use obviously the blue and the yellow pens, and blue and yellow together are going to create our new shade of green. So you do want it all nice and wet, right? So I'm using a water brush here. You don't have to use a water brush. You could just use a regular paintbrush and a bit of water. So I've just got that nice and wet across the front. And I'm going to start off by splodging a little bit of the blue. And I literally am splodging that colour on, right? So splodge a bit of the blue on, then splodge the yellow. And first of all, I'm going to splodge the yellow in between where we've got the blue, right? And you can see the nib is starting to go a little bit green already. Don't worry, these nibs are phenomenal quality. So don't worry about interfering. We're going to get that nice and clean. So now we've got a little bit of yellow on. What I'm going to do is in between, I'm going to mix that green. So I'm just splodging, sometimes over the blue, sometimes around between the blue, and I'm starting to create that green. And now if you look at my pen, you'd actually think I had a green pen. And that's the trick. And again, it's just this lovely splodgy background technique. And there's no skill to this. It's very, very easy to do. It's just remembering we have a nice wet canvas to start with, and then you want to leave some of the bits of blue in places, leave some of the yellow, and then create the green where we've got it. And if you say, do you know what, I want that a little bit darker in places, you can always add some extra blue in certain places, and then just go back over and blend them in. So now we get like a nice darker green again. Once you're happy with the colour, I'm going to just bring in a blank piece of card. So if I give it a little squeeze where it says push, you see I've got green at the moment, and if I just squeeze a little bit of yellow through, I'm essentially cleaning that green into a nice yellow. So now our pen is back to being that lovely yellow with the nice lovely point of it. You're not going to damage that nib. I mean, don't go too heavy handed on it, but phenomenal quality. The quality here is really all in the pens, okay? And then all I'm going to do, I don't want to lose any of that sparkle. The more you dry it, turn my heat gun on, the more that sparkle is going to intensify as it dries. And if you do get little bits of warping in your card, you can just obviously shape it back. Once it's nice and dry, it's going to just pull back into shape. And you can see there, if I just tilt it towards the light, you'll probably just see that lovely sparkle really glistening through at you, because we haven't lost any of the intensity in the colour. All we've done is dried that off. So I've used lots and lots of ink on there and then dried that off, so I've got that lovely sparkle. Now, if we look, now what I want to do is colour the cake in. So we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to use the red and the yellow to create an orange in the middle, and we're going to use the yellow and the blue to create a green on the bottom. So if I start with my base, I've just taken out one of the toppers that's in the kit. So this is from your little pack where everything is already stamped, well, not stamped, but printed directly onto your base, okay? So first of all, I find it much easier if you have a nice wet base to start from. So I've got a nice lay down of colour there. Yep. And then I'm just going to take a tiny bit of the red, and you can either do it this way, so you can either go with red directly onto the side, as I'm doing here, and then blend it out. So can you see that? Or the other option is what you'll have seen me do in one of the other videos, is where I put the red down on the side here, pick it up, and work with it direct from my yellow nib. So 2 ways of creating that beautiful blend. And then just dragging that through. So if you look there, the red is more intensive where I've used it direct from the pen. So I'm going to do that on the other sides. I'm going to go direct with the red pen. You only need a little bit of ink. You want the deeper colour on here. So you don't need too much of that ink. And then again, I'm just going to drag that out, so you don't actually end up with a line where the red finishes and the yellow starts. Get that lovely shading of orange in the middle there. So we're actually not really left with any of the yellow at all. It's all red and orange now. You can see that there. And then again, anytime you're worried about having red on your yellow pen, all you're going to do is give it a bit of a blowout later. So I'm just going to give that a good shake, and we've released all of the red from the yellow brush. Okay. Now I'm going to just colour in the cherry first of all. And you can see just how fine and into the detail we can get with these brush tips on the pens here. And then what I am going to do is on the base of the cupcake, I'm going to start with my blue in the middle. So I'm going to take the blue in the middle. And actually what I want to do is blend from a blue out to a green, so lots of ink down there. And then we're going to blend that out with the yellow. So we never actually have any yellow, we go from blue straight into green. Just going over that blue there just gets me that lovely shading of green. And then while I've got essentially a green nib, I'm just going to colour in my little leaf at the top. And then also give this a bit of context. I find if if you've got a cake, it would be sitting on the top of something. So let's just put in the top a little bit more green there with the blue, and then blend that right out to a lemon. And that lovely shading. Okay. So we've got our colouring ready to work with. Now, that is just going to, I just need that to dry, and then that is going to go on top of one of the mats and layers, and that's going to go on the inside of the card. So I'll just finish drying that off with the heat gun. So as you see, the more that dries, the more the sparkle intensifies. If I just give that a good little tilt to the camera, you might see that wonderful sparkle on there. And again, that is just going to mat and layer straight onto the front of one of our base mats and layers, and go on the inside of our card. So we've just created that little bit of a point of difference by having the aperture cut in the front, but it just frames that that cake on the inside. And then all I've done to finish it off, remember you've got the stamp set in the collection, and there's a lovely little stamp on there, "You're so sweet." I've just stamped that with a black ink pad onto the front here, and I'm just going to pop that down the side. Just really finishes that off a little bit. And then we have our cutie little coloured cards. It just shows you how easy it is to do that lovely splodgy background technique, and a few more ideas of how to blend there with the colours.